Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Open Mic. Open Mic with yours truly, Chris Anu, coming to you as usual from the great state of Texas, Houston, Texas. Good evening and welcome. This is promising to be very, very exciting. Cameroon elections zeroing down. Cameroon elections about zeroing down to another war front in the north of that country. That will be the key subject of this broadcast tonight. Again, thank you for tuning in. Go ahead and hit your share button. Sorry for the late show. Unfortunately, when you come under circumstances you cannot control, you have no choice but to come late. But it's good I'm here, and I know lots of you have been piling up online, some beginning to walk away, but let everybody know that I am live. So hit your share button, and let others know that right now I am live to bring you updates with what is happening on the ground at the moment in La République du Cameroon. There is tension. I mean, when you think of tension, I mean tension brewing on the ground in La République du Cameroon. Statements are flying in from all over, telling people to stay calm, behave yourself, be responsible citizens. They are coming from the chiefs, they are coming from Paul Atangenji, they are coming from the elite, they are coming from everywhere, telling people when the results are read, which, by the way, they may be read tomorrow. The results may actually be read tomorrow. But these statements preparing the minds of people psychologically, telling them to remain calm, after the reading of the elections. Do nothing, do not go anywhere, do not participate in any protest, be responsible citizens. That is what right now in Cameroon citizens are being told. Their minds are being prepared for what lies ahead, maybe tomorrow. And the army is surrounding. Has been posted to all strategic hot points at the moment in the north, in Yaoundé, in Douala, in Chang, different locations, hotbed location in that country in anticipation of what could happen after the pronouncement of the results. Again, this will be my main topic of discussion today. There are others that we're going to be talking about, but this will be the main one. Please go ahead and hit your share button before I come to you with my talking point for the day. And after the talking point, as usual, I will bring in my guests, and then after my guests, the phone lines will be open. Remember, this is open mic. I'm going to do a lot of the talking here, but of course, the phone line will be open for you to call in and contribute what you may have on your mind. Please don't go anywhere. Hit your share button, as I promise to be back in less than 1 minute.
ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your
ladies
target
and
audience.
gentlemen, once more, thank you for joining us from Africa, all of Africa, by way of satellite, and the diaspora by way of the social media, talking about YouTube and Facebook. We will also be streaming eventually simultaneously on the Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn in the days ahead. As you find the subject on your screen, another war looming. Remember the war in the southern Cameroons, Ambazonia, of course. I am talking about another war looming, this time from Cameroon itself. I do not want to say North Cameroon, because the war in Cameroon isn't going to be about the North. It is going to be about all of Cameroon, talking about the West, the littoral, the Central, and the three northern regions of that country. Now, many of you will recall that until the elections, we were hearing that this time the presidency, the leadership will be returning to the North. The Northeast were fighting for it, and they got it in Issa Chiroma. They got it in Issa Chiroma. And I have some reason to believe that Issa Chiroma is a fighter. He's not a coward. And so I see every reason why there's going to be an outbreak of severe hostilities, insurgencies. With what I know, things that I cannot say here on your screen, things are not looking good. Things are not looking good in La République du Cameroon. War lies ahead. War lies ahead. And it's a matter of days. It's a matter of days. In fact, as you will hear from my monologue, Issa Chiroma has already formed his cabinet. Issa Chiroma has already formed his cabinet, and it's a matter of days until he announces it. I guess he is just waiting for the official proclamation of the results by ELECAM and the Constitutional Council before he steps out to announce who is in his shadow cabinet. I don't know what I should call it, shadow cabinet, because if he is claiming victory in the election, then it's not shadow cabinet. He believes it is cabinet. That's just what it is. Paul Biya has now held power in Cameroon since 1982. More than 4 decades of continuous rule. With the constitutional amendment of 2008 eliminating term limits, Paul Biya's 8th presidential bid in the October 12th election was widely anticipated. The backdrop is one of entrenched power, weak institutional checks, socio-economic stagnation, youth unemployment, as high as nearly 40% in some estimates, and ongoing security challenges, including the Ambazonia conflict and the Boko Haram attacks in the far north of that country. So when an opposition candidate, I'm talking about Issa Chiroma, emerges with momentum, the system's gears turn uneasily. Here are the dynamics as we know them now, today. Chiroma is a complex figure, a former minister and government spokesperson under Paul Biya's regime. He broke ranks to mount a credible opposition bid. On October 12, Chiroma stood for election, and then, before official results are even announced, Chiroma publicly declared that he had won. He said, "Our victory is clear, it must be it must be respected," addressing Paul Biya through social media. Issa Chiroma's claim is backed by his own tallying of polling station results, compiled from what he describes as publicly posted data. Chiroma calls for a phone call of congratulations from Paul Biya, a gesture of democratic maturity. Chiroma supporters are therefore emboldened by that call. He is defiant in the face of a system that has long denied the opposition meaningful breakthrough. At the same time, the government apparatus has already issued stern warnings. The Minister of Territorial Administration, of course you all know who he is, Paul Atanganji, has labeled any unauthorized declaration of results as high treason. In short, Chiroma is positioning himself for confrontation, and the regime is signaling zero tolerance. Zero tolerance. Here is where the tension sharpens dramatically in La République du Cameroon. Chiroma's camp is publishing regional tallies that reportedly give him over 63% of the vote. Meanwhile, the provisional results being released by the Electoral Commission, ELECAM, show Biya at over 53%. I mean, Biya is actually winning 53%, Chiroma at 35%. Analysts and civil society reports irregularities, relocated polling stations, outdated voter rolls, and ballot stuffing allegations. Historical precedent. In 1992, the vote was manipulated to deny power to John Frundi from the English-speaking regions now called Ambazonia. In 2018, similar claims arose. Maurice Kamto from the Bamileke West was cheated. And today, commentators note that if Biya is declared winner once more, it may signal that power remains tied to a narrow clique, the Ewondo Bulu Beti groupings, and thereby locks out other ethno-regional groups. That means the Anglophones, as they believe it is part of their territory, the Nordies, and the Bamilekes. Power stays with the Ewondos forever. Put plainly, the signs point to the possibility that results are already prepared, with the regime determined to claim victory regardless of the vote's integrity. The narrative of Biya will win has been repeated by many analysts. The atmosphere inside the country now is thick with anticipation and fear. In major towns and cities, there are reports of unrest, protests, rising in protest of perceived electoral manipulation. The military and security forces are reported to be deployed to strategic corners of the country to aggressively quell any insurrection should the official result provoke popular rejection. Multiple reports show increased security presence in polling and protest hotspots across the country. The U.S. Embassy in Yaoundé issued a security alert saying its citizens should exercise increased vigilance across Cameroon as protests swell. We learn the French are doing the same. Chiroma's residence in Garoua is reportedly heavily guarded by supporters taking turn duty day by night. Hence the scene: guarded residents, riot-ready troops, a simmering public ready to believe the vote was stolen. All of this suggests an election, not just about a ballot, but about fundamental power. The question is, have the power mongers in Yaoundé gone full circle? Here is where the rhetoric necessarily becomes sharper, because the underlying dynamic is not simply who wins the presidency, but it is who controls the state, who controls La République du Cameroon. From 1992, when the Anglophone regions were effectively denied access to power, to 2018, when the Francophone Bamileke felt sidelined, to this 2025 election where a Northeast. Issa Chiroma Hayes from the North, of course, claimed victory. There is a feeling among many that the regime is closing the circle, reasserting domination by a narrow ethno-regional bloc, Bulu Betty Iwondos. If indeed Mr. Biya is proclaimed winner tomorrow, as many signs suggest, the question must be asked, isn't this a de facto declaration of war by a small group of people against the rest of that country? When the ballot box becomes a tool for reinforcing an existing monopoly of power, the political contest ceases to be about governance and becomes about survival. Are we, in fact, witnessing the full declaration of war in Cameroon? Silent but real, by a regime and its clique against not only its population but the broader national fabric of inclusion? The days ahead are pregnant with possibility for reconciliation or for rupture. If Issa Chiroma's claims are correct that he won and his supporters organized around them, the state machinery is ready to push back, crush it. If the official count again favors Biya, the precedent of 2018 where Kamto supporters were jailed looms large. The memory of repression, of excluded regions, of rigged ballots is tense in the national museum. What to watch in the coming days? How will the security forces respond to protests if the official result is perceived as a fix? Arrests have already begun. At least 20 protesters were arrested in recent days. Will the international community, the embassies, foreign governments react strongly in the process? If the process is blatantly manipulated, will they? Already, as I said earlier, the U.S. Embassy in Yaoundé and the French Salon have issued warnings. Could ethno-regional fault lines flare up? If northern voters and others feel disenfranchised, the risk of violence beyond protest rises. And finally, will Paul Biya's clique attempt an early cabinet release to project a sense of continuity and preempt opposition mobilization? Chiroma, we are told, has already picked his cabinet. That may be a warning that a shadow government narrative is already at play. But here is the conclusion. In many ways, what is unfolding in La République du Cameroun is less a typical election than a ritual of power confirmation. The machinery of the state, the institutional structure, the electoral commission, the constitutional court, the security apparatus, they all remain in the hands of the old regime, the ancien regime. In this mismatch lies the danger. If the old regime recognizes the mutiny in sentiments, but not in results, war seems all out inevitable. Hence the question, have we gone full circle? Has Cameroon gone full circle? The regime returns to the same script of dominance over a restless people, the same clique perpetuating its hold, the same regions denied equitable access. If Paul Biya is declared the winner once more, and if the opposition's claims are ignored, might that not be the declaration of war by a small group against the vast majority of the country? The days ahead will not simply decide who holds the presidency in La République du Cameroon. They will decide whether Cameroon enters a new chapter of plurality and inclusion, or re-enters the closed loop of elite reproduction. For ordinary citizens, it may determine whether their voice counts or remains an echo in the hall of power. The stakes remain high, and the outcome may ripple far beyond the ballot box, ladies and gentlemen, and that is my monologue. So summarily, ladies and gentlemen, that is what is happening in La République du Cameroon at this moment. Again, Issa Chiroma, we are told, has formed his cabinet, and he is just waiting, laying in wait to declare who are the members of his cabinet. Now, you all know what that means. By creating a cabinet, Issa Chiroma is saying, I am not giving up. This election was mine. The results were mine. The victory was mine. And so, you know the consequences. He is also in the north, heavily fortified. I cannot tell you what I know, but heavily fortified, and the French Cameroon army cannot even get close to his residence. They can't go past the mammoth crowds that will engulf his residence to provide him with security. It isn't going to be like in 1992 with John Frundi, where they sent troops to Bamenda to surround his compound and he couldn't get out. Of course, not that Chiroma wants to go out and do whatever, but the security forces of La République du Cameroon cannot get near Issa Chiroma for anything, for any reason. He will stay where he is and communicate from where he is. That is exactly what is going to happen. So he has created a cabinet. He has created a cabinet, formed a cabinet, and they are waiting for the results of the election to be announced formally by the Constitutional Council of Cameroon. So that is what we know at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. And again, I won't fail to mention that all over the country there are press statements are crisscrossing the country from ministries, from the chiefs, from the elite, and warning the people to stay calm. Stay calm. That is to tell you they are about to proclaim Paul Biya the winner of that election. And by the way, if they think that Biya won the vote by love of the people, that means the people voted for him, why are they persuading the people to stay calm, don't go out and protest? Why all of that? Why is it necessary? That is to tell you the machine is at work. The machine is at work. But whether that works at this moment, in this time and age, I really doubt it. Now, I made a point in that my monologue there, and I like to make that point again. You all will recall that Cameroon, let me add Ambazonia temporarily inside, because Cameroon considered Ambazonia part of their country. So look at this. 1992, Frundi wins, and they steal the victory. They steal the victory and got him house arrested. For the first time, an Anglophone, as they call it, is about to be president. For the first time in over 60 years. I don't know whether it was 60 years then, but at least close. He is denied. I'm not just saying so because Frundi was Anglophone. No, Frundi was welcomed by the entire fabric of the country, from the north to the south, to the west, to the east. He was completely accepted, though he spoke English, though he was Southern Cameroonian. All of Cameroon accepted him. We are talking about universal acceptability. Frouni was denied that mandate. They rigged the results as they're doing today, and Biya stayed in power. Now, 2018, after changing the constitution 2008, 2018, a Bamiliki in the name of Maurice Kamto, another segment, a tribal group in the country, he wins the election. He wins the election, and again, it is rigged, and he is put in jail, and Yaoundé keeps it. The Bulu, the Ewondos, the Betis, they keep it. They keep it and maintain it, and Biya is still there today. So a segment, a cultural segment, a cultural group of the country, the Anglophones have been denied. The Bamilikis and the Doualas, you can join, you can box them together. They have been denied. That is 2018. Now we are in 2025. Issa Chiroma wins. He is from the north, representing the northern fabric of La République du Cameroon. He wins handily, plain and clear, as everybody knows. Again, we know the results have been read, and he is being denied the victory. Where does power stay? Power stay in the hands of the few inside the Bulu Beti Ewondo clan. If this is not, ladies and gentlemen, the concentration of power, a vow to concentrate power in the hands of a small clan, if it is not that, I don't understand what it is. If it is not that, I just do not understand what it is. That for eternity, power in Cameroon will rest in the little hands, the little clique made up of Betty, Bulu, and Ewondos. And the rest of the country, the rest of the cultural groups can go to hell. That is what they want us to be. That's what they are telling the people. That is what is going on in La République du Cameroon. So, ladies and gentlemen, look at what is going on all over La République du Cameroon today. That is what is going on there.
On dormira ici. Issa Chiroma, voilà. On dormira ici. Issa Chiroma, voilà. On dormira ici. Issa Chiroma, voilà. On dormira ici. Oh, Issa Chiroma, voilà. On dormira ici.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. The images you find there, that is just a smidgen of what is happening in La République du Cameroon. That is only a smidgen of what is going on in La République du Cameroon. Now, let me take you into the results that Issa's Chiroma campaign has put out there. You are looking there at the results that Issa Chiroma's campaign has put out there. And according to those results, ladies and gentlemen, Issa Chiroma is winning with 62.2% of the vote. Paul Biya coming second with only 26.7% of the vote. Bello Buba Maigari coming third with 4%. Cabra Lebi coming fourth, according to this stats, with 3.7% of the vote. Tomeno Indam Joya coming fifth with 0.7%. Then the rest in that order: Joshua Osi of the SDF, Ateki, Seta, Caxton, the rest really do not matter. So what you are seeing on your screen, those are the results compiled by Issa's Chiroma organization, the Union for Change. The Union for Change. However, we are made to understand that the CPDM Elekam's own compilation show that Paul Biya is leading with 53% of the vote. Paul Biya, according to CPDM own tabulations, leading with 53% of the vote. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what is going on in La République du Cameroon election. Let me bring you now my panel for tonight. I am being joined by Comrade Sama Thomas. Sama Thomas, sir, good to have you back here, sir.
Thank you for having me, Comrade Chris.
All right, wonderful. And also we're being joined by the Honorable Vice President of the Interim Government of Ambazonia, the Reverend Engineer. Good to have you, sir. I think you are muted on your side.
Thank you, Comrade Chris. My greetings to you, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to be here and we can reach out to the people of Amazonia in a moment like this.
All right, let's get into the issues. I would like your take on the general picture on the ground in La République du Cameroon. You have a situation here where 1992 doesn't seem to want to repeat. 2018 doesn't seem to want to repeat. It seems for once you have a candidate in that country who says, my victory or nothing. Give me my victory or a die. I'm referring to Issa Chiroma, and he is being favored overwhelmingly by the majority out there. Do you see a change at last happening in that country, despite the fact that tomorrow, being Thursday, Biya may declare himself or his organization, Elekam, and the Constitutional Council may declare him winner of the election?
Thank you, Comrade Chris. I think it's very obvious the reactions of the people out there shows that something is going on, or the people are tired and they're frustrated, and they're not going to sit down and fold their arms to be mocked or to be robbed and carry for the next 7 years without any sense of anything hopeful or to write home for. They have gone through the experience of the past, and I think it's not just their motivation at the moment, but the campaign words of Issa Chiroma, who spoke to them And I've heard one thing repeatedly from him since these elections passed. He's telling the people that this is not about me, it's not about me or about my family or about anything, but about you. The results are yours, or the election or the winning is not about me or for me, but for you. And those, as you see there, I think if you were to collect the videos from all the national territory of La République du Cameroon, it could be very, very frightful to see what's happening. The minds of the people are kind of radicalized, not by Issa Chiruma, but because of the frustrations they've gone through. Whatever comes in the dawn of tomorrow from La République and the powers that be kept there by them, who are supposed to honor them and glorify them and do what they want. The truth is that the people's minds have been loosened. They have come to a point of say, oh, we are not going to sit down here and let things go the way they've been going. Whatever Pierre and his gang of those in place are going to declare that we want to contradict the will of the people. The people know their decisions, what they stood out for, and they are ready to stand in for. And I'm afraid that if Bia and his gang doesn't come to an understanding that it is time out for them and that they have to sign out, get out of the way, it is going to escalate to a point where they will regret, and even their children's children will regret. This is something very, very clear. And I wait to see it come to pass if they remain foolish and recalcitrant to their wickedness and foolishness.
Summer Thomas, you seem always to speak like a historian. I mentioned here the case of 1992 and 2018, where first they denied the presidency to somebody hailing from the Anglophone regions, English-speaking region. Then 2018, they denied it to somebody coming from the Bamileki cultural area, and this time is 2025. They are denying it to anybody from the north. They have essentially made the circle and come round and keeping it around where it has always been. Tell me what you make of that, sir, Sama.
Oh, well, before I come there, let me first of all re-echo something that Paul Biya said in 1991 when we were protesting in the southern Cameroons, calling for a sovereign national conference. Biya and his people, the Fang Singang Bulu clan, held a rally in Ibolova, and they gave a spear, a knife, a gun to Biya. In Biya's speech on that day, he said, anybody that wants peace in Cameroon should prepare for war. So if you are in Cameroon and you want that peace, you want to remove Biya, and you fail to prepare for war, then you do not really want peace, because it is only war that will remove Biya from where he is seated. Let me go back to 1992. When La République or Paul Biya and his gang of thieves, who are good at stealing elections and rendering the entire nation bankrupt, stole Frunzi's victory in 1992, when we rose up in Bamenda, the very first thing the Bamenda man did was touch top CPD and people's property in Bamenda. What served most of them their heads is that they ran away. What am I trying to tell the people of La Republic now? Don't waste your time that you want to go and protest on the streets of Yaoundé or Bafoussam, Douala, and the Grand North. It's a waste of time. The very first thing you guys have to do is target where Elecam members and Elecam offices are. is target all the so-called administrative units, the DOs and the governors. Once those units are brought down, the people manning those units, if you cannot reach them in their offices, or you cannot get the way to get their offices, you know where their houses are and their families. To start it all and to bring the system down is to target their families in the quarters and the persons that have frauded the elections in their houses. When 20 of them are touched, when all their properties in the quarters are touched, and everybody is running with his head skelter, you people have started to succeed. But thinking that you go on the street protesting while allowing these people to be living freely in the quarters with their property standing is just a waste of time. Secondly, Kiruma and the people of La Republique must not allow Clement Atangana to proclaim the results. If they are serious enough that they want to take power in La Republique and chase out the junta, it is now, not tomorrow, that they will start to say, I have won, and I'm not going to wait for anybody to make a declaration of the results. For the results they've already given you a copy of that result which they will declare. There is nothing that's going to change in that bull crap, and you have your own result. So proclaim yourself and you take action to stop them from their own track from proclaiming anything on or whenever they want to proclaim it. Stop them not to do that proclamation. Give your own proclamation and make sure you stop them from doing any proclamation. Secondly, the military. Chiruma should also take into consideration that the people that call themselves generals in La Republic Cameroon are not even the ones. If you are not from the Singam Fang society, who is a general, you are not a commander. You are subordinate. You are subordinate behind you. Even at times, like what happened in 1992 in Bamenda, around Frundi's compound, the guy that was a colonel controlling the soldiers that surrounded Frundi's compound was not the person in communication with the hierarchy. The person in communication with the hierarchy was a 3V gendarme officer who is an Iton man and not the colonel that was there. So for Chiruma to succeed, to dismantle these guys, all gendarmes, any military officer, whether police, army, or gendarme of the Fang Singam society that is in the quarters elsewhere in La Republic of Cameroon, Douala, Bafoussam, and the Grand North. Anybody from the former Center South that is a military officer, take that person out. If you are serious, once this gang of persons are taken out or chased out, that is when you consolidate your victory. But thinking that you are waiting for Clement Atangana to proclaim anything called result for you to start from there to protest, you are already late. For they make all their preparations and plans how to block you from your own tracks for you not to reach where they are. For you to reach where they are, this is the moment to get them in their various houses.
You see, the problem sounds like what you are saying out there sounds like some good strategy, but the problem is are francophones courageous enough to do so when Paul Biya CPDM comes with a bag of money? I mean, there are allegations out there. Let me put it this way. There are allegations out there. In fact, I'm hearing that Joshua O.C. has sued John Ba Akuro. You can see the letter there, a statement put out by the SDF signed by Joshua O.C. Saying that John Ba Akuro deformed his person and his party and possibly altered the results of the elections. Now, this is the point. John Ba Akuro was proud to the elections, saying out there that Joshua Osi, Bello Buba, and Cabral Lebi and others had been giving money not to encourage protests after the election and not to contest the election results. And Joshua Osi again is out there threatening. He has already filed a lawsuit against John Ba Akuro in the state of Maryland. So the question lingers. When it comes to fighting for the result, the right result of this election, do you think Francophones have the bone to fight, considering that 1992 they didn't fight, 2018 they didn't fight? Do you see them fighting this time? Because this is one problem with La République du Cameroon. People come out today, they make noise, they protest for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and before you know, they all retire. And that's a tactic that La République, of course, knows is implementing. They know people will get tired after 3 or 4 or 5 days of protest, and then what next? And the regime stays in power. How much do you think Francophones, La République citizens, this time are prepared to fight?
Maybe the suffering that they've been claiming they are into haven't touched them right deep into their marrow. For if it had really reached their marrow that they are suffering as a result of Pombia's making, then they will go out. Why did they have to go and vote to begin with? They were going to vote. They knew that the elections would be rigged. So it was useless for you to go and vote and turn around for you to go out protesting. If they were voting to say that if their votes are rigged, there is a declaration of war and they prepared for that war, then they have a reason. But thinking that they will go out to protest, like you rightfully asked, for how long will they protest? Is it for 1 week? If it's a matter of protesting for 1 week, or for 2 days, or for 1 month, then they are not yet ready. If it is to use civil disobedience to bring down Mr. Paul Biya's government, then they should be ready to go for at least 1 year with the entire country shut down, no transportation from Douala to Yaoundé, from Yaoundé to Douala, from Bafoussam to Yaoundé. Nothing moves from another region, as they call it, to another region for 1 year. All economic activities are shut down. No administrative unit should be allowed to operate. If that is how they're going to go, fine and good, it might help them. But if they are not ready for that, they should be ready for war to defend their votes. And by now, I think they could have been exploding some gas bottles in some various units in La République du Cameroon to say we are prepared to defend our votes. Failure to do so, I bet you, I've told them, if you are not ready for war, a dictator like Biya has never given up power like that during the ballot box. You can only get rid of a dictator like Biya with the barrel of the gun. Stop deceiving yourself that you want to vote him out. You give yourself, Larbusis will give themselves the next 1,000 years. They will not get rid of Biya. Let me go to Joshua Osei. Joshua Osei.
Okay. Go on. Go.
Joshua Osei signed a document in Parliament when La République was petitioning the U.S. government to repatriate Southern Cameroonians from the United States back to La République. Joshua Osei was the very first person to pen down his pen to support Biya to sign that document. The question now is, what was the motivation of Joshua Osei signing that document if it wasn't bribe for him to sign that document? Is it the first time that Joshua Osei has been bribed? How many times have Joshua Osei supported CPDM bad laws in La Republic's parliament? What has been his motivation to be doing all those things in parliament? But this is not the first time that he has been bribed. It's not the second time. It's almost the fourth time even. So he should stop that bull crap of his character being defamed. He has already defamed his character long ago.
Well, I get a point. Let's get the thought from Reverend Jenny, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Comrade Chris. I want to start by thanking again and my extension of greetings to Honorable Sama Thomas and his perspective of history and the ability to recount some of the facts, how it has been. You know, when he made mention of Biya, the dictator Biya's statement in 1991, challenging the people, you know, emphatically saying, if you really want peace, be ready for war. It's a challenge for anyone at the moment in La Republique to really take those words into considerations. And come back to that questions. Are the Francophones in La Republique up to the challenge or up to the task of standing up to fight for their vote to be able to carry through? If you were to be compared to Ambazonians, the big answer is no. They are proven to be cowards all through these years. And because when you see their attitude of life in La Republique, it's quite frustrating. And if you were to check around the social media, you will hear some of them are crying out aloud, saying it is time to open the gates and to let Ambazonians come in and help us. Now, trying to give away, that means they are counting on Ambazonians. Now, but the truth is that when we cannot really just generalize this conclusion about the Francophones in La Republique. We will take the case of Mali. We see a people who came to a frustration and a disgruntlement and said, no, we are not going to sit down or hold back and risk our lives, risk our families, and risk no future for ourselves and for our land. They stood out. We check in the case in Burkina Faso. You know, they are still some of these Francophonie citizens, colonies who stood out and fight. I want to say, like I said, if you were to be compared to Ambazonia, the answer is no. But now when we bring a comparison to the case of 1992 and 2018, to say that the exception could be the fact that there was no leader who was willing to lay down his life or pay the price for the cost of standing out to want to free the people. I can't remember the exact date, when after the elections of 1992, I follow Ni John vividly in Canal de La République du Cameroun there in Douala. He was called and he was interviewed in the studio. They say it is evident your impact everywhere during your campaign. You pull crowd more than anyone else. And the way people turn out for the elections shows you have truly win. And we want to know, are you going to sit down and fold your arms and wait for it to be given to you in the platter of gold? He said, well, I have to follow I can't put his word exactly, but one of the things he said was that he was not going to do anything on his own, but waiting and trusting that the powers that be and are in charge to announce will give the justice of truth for whoever has won. They say if he doesn't do, like it has happened through, and we discover Dictator Biya is willing to continue. Are you going to hold back? And the people are ready to fight for their victory. He said, yeah, it is very easy to declare war, but to stop war is very difficult. Those were his words to the Cameroonians in 1992. And that was watered down every zeal of anybody. He was telling the people that we have no leader. We have nobody who is willing to pay the price or carry us along the line. People can go as far as possible if there's a leader who have said enough is enough. We are not holding back till the last man standing, just like the Ambazonians have said. The last 9 years, have been real heat, and the frustration to La Republique is something they have never thought about. Their 9 May is not even Cheroma at moment, but has been Ambazonia, whom they minimize and call 2 cubes of sugar, and they have not been able to resolve in the basin of water that they provided. Unfortunately, the 2 cubes absorb the water and have been absorbing all the rivers and whatever possibility of water given on their way. It is the same thing in 2018 when Kamto won the election. When he came up, the people in La Republique were like, we are frustrated, we are helpless, we don't know who. When you think about people like the see people like the Cabral people, they are just jokers who sponsored by La Republique, who manipulate the atmosphere in the name of doing elections. I don't know where the consciences are. But when Kamto came up, when you follow through, I followed the manifesto of Kamto before the elections, and there was nobody among the candidates that had anything to write home for as hope, as a way forward for the people. But Kamto showed up with a good manifesto, and every way when they presented, and they stirred up and won the heart of the people, and they stood out for him. But was he there for them? I don't know. But the evidence of, we have gotten clear evidence from the gang members and those who are disgruntled and frustrated from La Republique, who stood out to recount how emergency meetings were held when they discovered SDF had taken over power in 1992, and how they had to cope and hold meetings and call other competitive party leaders to consent or to give in their consent to support that we are going to let La Republique and CBDM continue to rule the people. And then the negotiation had to call John. Unfortunately, he's no more there, and call him and did the negotiation with him, and he sold over his life, sold over his zeal, sold over all that he has done for the cause of the people. This thing called SDF has not remained a letter. It's just a historical letter that something happened, and it's there. So when you see OC trying to do whatever he do there, check the result that comes out, check his impact. Where does he find impact? Because there was no leader, and it went through like that until, unfortunately, the founder supposedly sold himself and had to even relocate to live in La Republique for all his life. When he discovered they had no place anymore. So Kamto, after the elections of 1992, you follow a track record of what he had been doing. You discover that he was not really anywhere. He just stays aloof aside and shows up in one moment or the other, want to say one thing, but there was nothing that he did to be able to secure the election. Now, we want to think that one of the things about me, my conviction at the moment, we see Cheroma, somebody who has served from within the system and then proves at the moment is disgruntled and frustrated, and by the helplessness and the frustration the whole nation is going through in La Republique, and wants to be the savior and wants to carry it on his shoulders. Now, if he were to only to leave him and the northern part of La Republique de Cameroon, his own people, where he comes from, it's frightful to think what could be. And if the zeal he has put up during his campaign and the things he has said and reiterated all through till now after the election, and it's evident that he won the elections in La Republique du Cameroon. If his people are willing, people from his northern are willing, I'm telling you, the La Republique, other citizens will have to toe the line behind them, because to the little of my understanding, people from that side of La Republique, some people, other people in La Republique call them moutons. In other words, simple language, sheep. And the characteristic of a sheep is when they toe the line to go, whatever comes their way, whether it is caterpillar, whether it is fire, they are going to go as long as they have a leader going that way. All of them are going to go, even if they see the leader falling down, crushed before them, all of them will have to come there, stoop down, and will be crushed that way. So at this time, if Cheroma is up to stand forth for the challenge to carry through, the people are standing behind him. His people from his own home background are standing behind him, and then a few that will be coordinated from the different regions of La Republic can make the difference. So that's why I say they may have lacked a leader in their cowardness in the past, the two evident results of 92 and 2018. But now somebody seems to be there and say, I am here for you. And it's not all about me, it's about you and about your future. And give me a chance, and we will take it over and then refurbish it or bring it back to life. Let's wait and see.
All right. Both you, Sama, mentioned the calls out there for Anglophones, as they call us, to go out, fight, defend the vote, the victory of Issa Chiroma. I'd like you both to listen to this guy who actually made the call. I don't know who he is. If any of you know who he is, let me know. But let's listen to him.
Macondre people, Anglophone people, I want to tell you when I say, he don't bat. He don't bat. That when I don't go vote, when I say na Issa Chiroma, he go join we all, and together we will fix any problem where it is for country. And now we don't take, you say, we all will say na Issa Chiroma. Now, that people where they dey for Yaoundé, that people where they detect like a Arata, they don't sit up on top all vote. They say, Nandem go decide say, Paul Biya and Chantal Biya woti Njumba, Ngongo. Nandem go continue control we country. If you will play, we don't die. Now the thing I want to tell you when I say, make any man, he must stand up fine for sake of say, no 1 day and a half will not figure say, DPP continue for tip all money. They don't tip all money for kerosene where they come all for Limbe. That kerosene where they come all for Limbe, now be a day for power 43 years this. It don't build wati, usa road, usa water, usa electricity. That money for petrol for Limben and the money in the inter from them pocket. Where the same petrol where it dey for Donso, now you go for Guinea Equatorial. When I go see how Obiangema don't build country. Now that probably it don't come for one man country. It don't give them petrol for Yo-Yo and Yolanda where they just discover where it go change life for all Cameroon for 100 years. Now it don't come give them. Now it no one go. It in gangang say na for day na for cha it did die. Now I want tell when I say I know you are courage and all Cameroonian wait for north for south everyone young people wanna be ready. We will shoot them pepper.
Young people wanna be ready. We go show them pepper. We go show them pepper. That is what this guy is saying. I don't know who this guy is. I just came across this footage. I don't know whether Sama or Reverend Ginny, you may know him. But isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting, ladies and gentlemen, that 9 years of fighting the same brutal regime, this same guy, I doubt if he ever came out and said, why are you killing our brothers, in quote, as they always want us to know, in Anglophone regions. I never saw him coming out to defend us. Now he is recircling the circle, the history to which they have been part, the looting of our natural resources to La République du Cameroon to enrich the same people. He's talking about Sonora. Where were you for the 64 years that Sonora was raped by La République du Cameroon? Where were you? I never heard you call a protest rally in Douala, in Bafoussam, in Yaoundé, or anywhere to protest what is happening in the southern Cameroons. But now, you want us to go out and fight. Don't you recall that we rejected the elections in the first place? We stayed home in the first place. Well, Sama, let me bring you in here to respond to this, because I think you are probably irritated right now.
I don't even know this fellow, and I've never seen this fellow. Unfortunately, this fellow has just fallen from the skies. His accent shows that he is a Bassa man. He is from Douala. The Douala people have never stood up to condemn what La République is doing in the southern Cameroons. Or this fellow has never condemned what his brothers are doing in the southern Cameroons. What I know they are best at doing is to call us
water, electricity.
That is the name they've given to us, Anglophones. Now that they need our favor, like when we fought for Jesus Ibord, they first granted backboard before Jesus Ibord. When we fought for an Anglo-Saxon university, they first created universities all over La République Cameroon before giving the University of Boya. And now he thinks that we will still sacrifice our lives to fight, to liberate them. For we are always good at fighting for what benefits them than us. They will fight today. And I'm telling all Southern Cameroonians, do not involve yourself in La République's problem. Let La Républicain citizens handle their situation in La République. It is not our problem. We did not vote for Paul Biya. We did not participate in their elections. They were the ones who went to the polls to remove Paul Biya. If they think their votes have been stolen by Paul Biya, they should stand up to fight for themselves. This might be the first time that La Républicain citizens will stand up to fight for something by themselves. We should be observers, standing by the sideline, watching what they are doing, where they are heading to. When we see their direction, where they are heading to, we might direct them to do it well. But thinking that we will take the lead to liberate them, after which, like the slaves in America, in the good 17th and 18th centuries, when it's time for tilling the soil, for planting coffee and harvesting coffee and tobacco, that was the job of the slaves. When it was time for marketing and profit, it is now the job of the master. Once all that profit has been made, you are discarded. We cannot keep on recycling the same thing day in, day out. When it is good, it belongs to the citizens. When it is bad, we are the ones to be punished. Let them do it for themselves. We are not involved. No Southern Cameroon should get himself involved into any mess that is going to take place in Cameroon. If at all there is any mess that is going to take place there.
Reverend Jenny, come in, give us your thoughts on what you listen to there, please.
Thank you, Comrade Priest. This man, I've been trying to, while Honorable Sama Thomas was talking, I was trying to see if I can trace out a video I saw about him about 4 or 5 years ago when this war started, or when Dictator Biya spelled out this war and launched this war against Ambazonians. If I'm not making a mistake, I think I saw him once, and when he showed up, he was in an interview in Equinox or Canal, something like that, and he was asked his own views about the war going in or the reaction of the terrorists. And he did not buy the idea of the journalist who was trying to put on those words on him, and was saying he called them the Anglophones, where they were right and they are doing what they're supposed to do, and they're supposed to fight for their right and fight for their freedom, what belongs to them, because they have suffered not a little.
Oh, is that what
And
you said then?
yes, I think I follow a video like that. I was trying to see whether I could trace it out, but unfortunately, it was not in this phone.
So I
I
guess
don't
he
know
has
his
been.
name.
So I guess he has been consistent.
This is something over 4 to 6 years ago when this war just started against us,
Okay.
and it was getting hotter when the few news media in La Republic were like saying, this thing is turning to another level. We know that when Biya came back from Cote d'Ivoire, from Ivory Coast, he boycotted the Francophonie meeting when this war break out, or when the two gendarmes were killed in Bingo, at Bingo, within Bello local government area. So he had to flew back, and there in the Simaleng airport of La Republique in Yaoundé, he was given a piece of paper about the information, and he read it out. He said it's all evident. He read it out in French. It's all evident. We are at war against terrorists, and we are not going to hold back. But in 2 weeks, we are going to crush them if they don't back out. And so it escalated. Now, I never even knew this was the video you were going to bring up when you say you're going to play it out. There's another guy, I saw him just for this first time. He's a young guy. I was wondering, I was trying to find out where he should be, but he's out of La Republique. He should be somewhere here in Europe. He was speaking up, challenging the citizens of La Republique, say it is time nobody to hold back. It is time to step out. And he actually said they should be happy that they have Amazonians who are going to come in with their weapons. I think Fabiano also, presented that thing, relayed and played that thing, and reiterated some words. I was challenging Amazonians. It's not time for you to be lured into destruction and to be vulnerable to La Republique, wicked Turks who they have called in the past civilized, well-trained army. It is not true. Now, all these people, there are many of them we have not yet seen, but they are speaking from the consciousness and the collection of information that are facts about who Ambazonians are. They have discovered that Ambazonians are not the Anglophones they call, but that they have a sense of their own, except for the few who call themselves the elite and who have decided to stoop down and stoop to serve the wicked master at the expense of their own lives, their families, their land, their people. Now, these 9 years of war we have gone through have proven to La Republique that we are not the same. This guy who said they are going to come, and this man who spoke here now said, we have seen your courage. We know you have courage. He's talking to a people who have been like cowards. People who are, when they give them bread and sardine, they eat, they go and sleep. And then they give them, or uncooked beer, and they drink, they sleep there, and they forget about their future. So he knows who Ambazonians have been, and is challenging them. So we know we were not going to hold back. But I'm saying he has a good mind, a good will about Ambazonians, but he has misdirected his message. Ambazonian, everyone who is listening to us should know we are being at war for in our own land. A war that we didn't get ourselves in, provoke for ourselves, but a war that has been imposed on us. And we have been fighting at self-defense to want to rescue ourselves and secure our land, or regain our land and secure the future. And so Ambazonians have been at war already for themselves and for their independence, for their freedom. It is time for La Republique citizens, when you get back to La Republique, just the neighboring country of to Ambazonia, everything goes on normal. So it is an atmosphere of war breaking out of them, and there is a lot of fear in them. But they look at Ambazonia and say, you are proving yourself, you are proving your worth, you are proving your ability of resistance, resilience, all these 9 years. And we can count on you. If we were to lobby for support from Central Africa or from Chad or from anywhere else, we want to say we know you as close neighbors who have goodwill, and we can count on you. You have the weapons we need, and have the resistance and resilience we need. We are counting on you. But Ambazonians to know we have been at war. And we have been at war for our own victory, for our own freedom. And it's not time to leverage your efforts to people could never leverage theirs for you in any way possible. It is not possible. Where have they been all these 9 years? Who has ever spoken for Ambazonia? If not, we have been haunted, mocked, When you hear the kind of slangs they make against Ambazonia, they say, "But even quoi?" This one I'm trying to say, exaggerate. They talk some kind of things you start wondering, do these people really reason? All this wickedness of La Republic, all this wickedness of their leaders is something they should be able to say, no, this is not really our nature if they are true to themselves and stand up and fight. While Ambazonians safeguard their land, every true Ambazonia, we have been at war. We're not relenting, we're not quitting. It's just a sensitive time, a sensitive moment for us to refocus, strategize how we can gain our freedom as soon as possible. Could this be the dawn of the new day for us? Then we should not be distracted or manipulated, but remain focused. It is time for every Ambazonian to know it's not about a few fighters out there taking control of the land. These guys are speaking from the consciousness. We just had a month lockdown in Ambazonia. Nothing goes on. Country Sunday is a national day in Ambazonia of mourning for all the fallen heroes, and it's well respected by all the colonial forces of La Republic who have a duty at one point or the other imposed in the land of Ambazonia. They know they don't dare in that day, and Ambazonians have sacrificed this all through mourning every week of their life, besides call for emergency lockdown that just happened. So these people are speaking this man is speaking the truth. They know who we are, and we know who we are. So don't be manipulated like people don't know who they are. We know who we are, we know what we're fighting for, and we know how we fight. There is no new thing coming up now. So don't be distracted and manipulated to be victims of the season. And let us just strategize. You have your leaders, we have our fighters. We give kudos to all those fighters who make it impossible for La Republic. I have heard some videos where some La Republic soldiers are crying out in frustration. It is time for those called that army to know it is time for them to take over and secure. How long will you keep on yielding your minds, if you're conscious, to a man whose mind cannot be coordinated, but being pushed ahead and picture pointed ahead by a few gang of wicked men who want to hold the country hostage for their own ego at the expense of all your lives? We are talking to you as good neighbors. We're challenging you as good neighbors in a time where you have to rise up and gain your victory. We are looking forward for a better negotiation where we can live and do business as good neighbors. We are not, you know who we are. We don't need to tell you that we are good. We know who we are. This is the truth. All of you who have had the privilege to live anywhere in the Ambazonia or the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, you know the difference of life in our culture and the love and serenity that we have within our people that you don't have among your people. There are some of you whom, if you had a way to pay for the citizenship and remain or be true, I have heard one who spoke out here challenging Atanganji in social media, telling him, I am telling you, Atanganji, I live here in Europe. I'm a medical doctor. I think some of you have seen that video. I'm a medical doctor. I'm telling you that anything you have been daring and standing out to break through the bounds of your duties as a minister of defense. And I'm telling you, if anything goes wrong with the victory of the people in this election, we are going to fight you. And I'm telling you, anywhere you step your foot in Europe, you will see me. You will be shocked to see me in my colors, and you'll be shocked to know I'm a medical doctor, but I'm going to face you eyeball to eyeball. He said, I have decided to become an Ambazonia. I don't know what is the terms. I don't know whether he made you come recruits to want to become an Ambazonia, but people know who we are. That's what I'm trying to talk about. And when you hear people speak like that with conviction, they speak from the sincerity of consciousness and wishing if they were. So Ambazonians, be on your guard. Don't be manipulated. Be focused. We are being at war, and we are not out of war. And we will not run in to fight war for the neighboring country when we have not yet gotten war for ourselves. We need to get hold of our own victory home. And if need be, if they want our support, we will work that on the bilateral terms of solving negotiations as neighboring countries. And this is normal. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move. Let's talk about something else that we are observing. I mentioned earlier that Issa Chiroma has formed a cabinet Sama Thomas, let me start with you. You recall that Frundi also formed a shadow cabinet in the 90s after losing to La République du Cameroon, and of course, that went nowhere. Do you see this Issa Chiroma's cabinet meaning anything to the people who are resisting him?
No, he can form anything that he calls whatever thing you want to call it, a cabinet or whatsoever, is gonna mean nothing. The only thing that's gonna be of help to Issa Chiroma, if they are serious, is first he should target La Republique's military. That's the first thing Chiroma has to do. Forming a cabinet means nothing. But if he goes ahead by appointing members of the military, by so doing, if he finds loyal members of that military that will stand with him, and tomorrow that military that will stand with him, if he says, you are general this, that is responsible with this, you are this, that is responsible with this, and tomorrow those guys stand up and say, we are behind Issa Chiroma. That is when Chiroma can now say, okay, because I've gotten this number of soldiers that are behind me, I can now come up with that cabinet because there is a force to back that cabinet. But if you consider a shadow cabinet, as I call it, without the strength, without the military to back that shadow cabinet, you are just a joke. You go nowhere. But if you penetrate the military and separate that military, and that military is separated as you separate it, and there are daggers drawn, then you've succeeded. Clement Atangana will not even pass to declare to read that bull crap whenever he say he's going to. They will carry him from the stretcher. I don't know from wherever he is. Nobody would dare to bring an ambulance to carry Clement Atangana to the court to go and read anything there, because they know they will stop that ambulance on the way and burn it down with Clement Atangana inside. But if he fails to do that, to separate La Republique's military as of now, he must not waste his time with the shadow cabinet. I'm sorry.
Reverend Genie.
Thank you, Honorable Thomas, for that input. It leveraged me in my thought. And my answer to that question, would Chiroma's cabinet, shadow cabinet, mean anything in the moment like this? The answer to me, supporting the views of Honorable Thomas, is yes, and also it is no. I very much support what he said. If Chiroma in this cabinet formation has been able to consider that those who have the weaponry, those in the military, to the best of my consciousness, for quite a number of time, when Dictator Biya discovered that before he brought Chiroma into the game of his government, sometimes in the past, the speech that Chiroma put forth that shook him and had to be brought over to work with him for some years, which was like kind of a way of compensating Chiroma and his own people of his northern regions. And ever since then, what La Republique used to have as a regional equivalence, equilibrium, was never really there. And for many, many years, through that philosophy of regional equilibrium, which is trying to give people from different regions equal opportunity into the national schools, national professional training centers, and to be empowered and to be able to get their way into the government. La Republique had unusually and reasonably favored these two and a half regions, and I think even in EMIR, which is their military national military training school, majority of these guys ever come from there. So along the years, I don't know, I cannot remember how many years that has been, but along maybe the last 20 years, he had done everything. One of the way Biya did was kind of trying to bring them into the system of giving.
Reverend Jenny, you hold on there for a second. I have Eric Chinje online. I would like him to give us some updates as he may have on the situation on the ground with the chances that the results of the elections will probably be proclaimed tomorrow being Thursday. Eric, sir, good to have you. Hello. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hello, Eric. Good to have you, sir.
Thank you very much, Chris. Good to be here.
Thank you. I guess you've been following up every development on the ground as of the moment. What are you hearing about the proclamation of the results? Is that happening tomorrow?
Well, I just stepped out of a meeting where we're discussing this, and from the latest information we have, the results will be proclaimed on Thursday.
Okay, so that is tomorrow.
Yes, because a lot of the people who put in complaints have withdrawn their complaints, including the SDF with Mr. Joshua Osfi and CPRM with Mr. Cabral Libi. So we expect the court, the Constitutional Council to be done tomorrow with examining these complaints. I think there's probably only one. And then on Thursday to make the announcement.
By Joshua Osi, Cabral Libi, and the rest withdrawing these petitions, what are they saying? Are they saying the results were free, the elections were free and fair?
You know, it's very hard to understand what the political machinations are. We believe, or the rumors that the ruling party has stepped into the process and again used its resources to derail or modify or change the actions by the other stakeholders in the process, by the other actors in the process. So, those are rumors. I don't want to, indulge in that. What is clear, though, is that because the SDF and the CPRN have withdrawn their complaints, it is almost tantamount to an endorsement of whatever results will come out of the Constitutional Council. Now, we do know, let me say two things. One, nobody, as we speak, nobody, not the ELECAM, not the government, not the Constitutional Council, not even the opposition parties, nobody at this point in time can provide the exact results of these elections.
Okay.
So under normal circumstances, you would expect the Constitutional Council to either make a decision based on a fundamental reading of the law. For example, a reading that will take into account perceived interferences. For example, that in a place like Batibo, where it is inconceivable that there would have been 200 voters, but to come out of Batibo and give Mr. Bia 5,000 votes, it's not only inconceivable, it is a blatant disruption of the process. So you would expect the Constitutional Council to either throw out these results, demand a further investigation, or delay the pronouncement of the results. The three things I've mentioned are written into the constitution of that council. So we will wait to see what happens on Thursday. Obviously, there are people who know that these untruths took place. These fraudulent activities took place. And that's in the majority, because I think the majority feels that there was a winner in this process. And if they don't get the winner in this process, then they might act in ways that are not exactly the most pleasant.
And I guess Isai Chiroma, his team, his campaign, the Union for Change, they are all aware of what is going on the ground and the readiness of the Constitutional Council to proclaim the results. Knowing what you and we are talking about here, what is on their mind? What are they thinking at the moment?
Yeah, okay, we just come out, the meeting's actually going on. I just stepped out of it with the Union for Change and the other groups that are monitoring the process and waiting for that announcement on Thursday, and also trying to organize the reaction of citizens after the announcement is made of the results.
Are they trying to tell the citizens to behave themselves, as I see in the press? Are they trying to caution the citizens to behave themselves and be calm, as I'm seeing from Paul Otanganji?
No, Chris. No, I think, as someone said, there are two things here. There's we have to mitigate between emotional intelligence, the passion of reacting, and the cold intelligence of doing what is right. So it's trying to find the middle ground. What we're discussing right now, that discussion is going on, is exactly what should be done on Thursday after the announcement. The coalition, the Union for Change, the Union for Change is suggesting, they're putting it out tomorrow, that there should be people should stay at home on Thursday and celebrate the victory in the expectation that a victory will be announced. Now, if a victory is not announced on Thursday, then the suggestion of the Union for Change is that people come out and express their disappointment on Thursday.
Okay.
And people should react in ways that express that disappointment. That's the suggestion they're making. Most of tomorrow will be spent organizing, coordinating action by the various groups, the Union for Change. There are organizations in parts of the country that will be linking up in Garoua, in Bertwa, in Bamenda, in Douala. Tomorrow will be spent ensuring that whatever actions are being planned, there is coordination between the various parties, and that will be tomorrow in anticipation of what will happen on Thursday. That's where things are at this point.
One of the things that is a little worrisome going forward, assuming that Biya is proclaimed the winner, is as much as people, the libido is high, they want to go out and protest and make the world to know their candidate won the elections. The question is, for as long as they are willing to do that, and for as long as Isai Chiroma is prepared to defend that victory, for how long can people go out, protest, and defend the victory? Because we know psychology. People go out for day 1, day 2, day 3, maybe up to day 5, and they retreat home. What happens next? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you, Chris. Yeah.
Yes. So,
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you now. So what happened next? Should the people get fatigued and retreat after maybe 5, 6, a week of demonstrations?
there's a absolute determination that the true results of the ballot of the election, the true results, will be made known. And if there's resistance, well, the public will have to meet resistance with resistance. If there's resistance to bringing out the true results of the ballot of the last election, then nobody wants resistance that is violent. But if it has to come to that, that's probably what will happen. Now the various groups are currently organized and trying to work with each other to ensure that if there's going to be a rejection of those results, it is done in a way that is consistent, that is understandable, and that seeks to bring out the desired results, which is a change in leadership. Change is what we all are looking for, and I believe that if the Constitutional Council refuses to pronounce the results that result in change, then obviously we're going to have to bear the consequences.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to find out is how prepared is Union for Change to carry on with the resistance past 1 week after the proclamation of the results?
I think that's a good question. The ultimate objective is not to engage in a battle of words or battle of ideas. No, the ultimate objective is to bring about leadership change in Cameroon. It's about ensuring that a new system that allows for new ideas to come into the system. The whole objective is that. The old ideas, the old systems have not worked for Cameroon. So what we are seeking is not just an intellectual debate in governance. We are talking about the ultimate result of allowing for the emergence of a system in which new ideas can flourish, and where governance can improve, and where the economy and other things can take up.
Well, let's hope they get there. Talking about that, we are aware that Issa Chiroma has now formed a cabinet, which is a sign of defending the victory at all means. But we also know that 1992, John Frundi did the same thing, form a cabinet after he was proclaimed loser of the 1992 election. Thus, Issa Chiroma coming up with one, is that going to really mean anything? I mean, you tell me what your take is about that.
Chris, again, it's a good point you're making. But if Cameroonians, if the nation, if people, if citizens want a new government, they want a new system, if they want to get out of the stagnation of today and of an economy that isn't functioning, of one that does not create jobs, of one that does not allow the country to move forward. If that's what Cameroonians want, then that's what Cameroonians will get. But we are hoping, we're almost certain that this country is so primed for change that all the elements that would allow for a new system to emerge, I think they're all in place. The process of change have come together, and that change will come about. And the only thing that will stop it from coming about is if the Cameroonian people are not ready for for such a change. But we all believe that they are. We cannot continue to allow for 8 years of stagnation in Amazonia, in the territories that, in what was West Cameroon or Southern Cameroons or the Northwest and the Southwest regions. We cannot continue to allow. It's been 8 years since. If the current system has not been able to deal with it, it's not in giving Mr. Biya another mandate that he will even have the mind or the heart or the strategies for dealing with it. Mr. Issa, who is supposed technically seems to have won these elections, we'll see when it is declared, but he clearly has made a resolution of that crisis, of what is called the Anglophone crisis. He's decided he will make it his number one priority. And that 8 years of suffering would be resolved in months. In weeks, he will release, within days or weeks of coming into office, release all political prisoners and put in place a motion for resolving this crisis in as short a time as possible. Mr. Issa has made that an absolute objective of his and a number one priority. Now, how does that stand in the face of those who say, no, we are content with the current system? And anybody who is content with the current system, we don't blame you, but, please don't stand in the face of change. And those who are not content with this system, those who want a solution to the most disheartening problem of that country, which is what we call the Anglophone crisis, those who want a solution to that have to stand up and be counted after Thursday, when the results of the elections the results are pronounced. So we hope that before the end of this year, this problem will be resolved. Our parents who are in exile will come back, and our brothers and sisters and daughters and sons who are in exile will come back. Those who are in political prison, like Ayub Tabe and his team, will be released. They'll join their families. We hope that this will happen before Christmas, and they'll spend Christmas at home. They'll spend the end of year at home. And anybody who thinks that is the wrong thing to do, well, continue to applaud for the fraud that is taking place. But if you're not for that fraud, stand up and be counted. It is time for that to end, for a country that can have one of the fastest growing economies in Africa to get back to work, for the corruption to be dealt with, for infrastructure to be built, for schools and hospitals to function again as they used to. So, we've got a lot at stake. We've got a lot at stake. And it is time for us all to join our voices to demand change, facilitated the fraud that has given votes that do not belong to Mr. Biya, that have given the votes to Mr. Biya. They should be brought out. They should be identified and called out. Everybody who was contributed to Mr. Biya, faking, fraudulently obtaining votes in the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon, they should be called out. I think, and anybody else who wants some different outcome, you can stand and be counted.
At this moment, how safe are members of the Union for Change? Have they expressed any sentiments as concerns their security? Because we know Cameroon will load forces to sometimes surround their homes and harass them. Has there been anything like that as of moment?
Yes, that is part of the deal in Cameroon, and everybody understands it. But the Union for Change had a meeting, a meeting in Douala this afternoon, And as I said, there's a meeting going on with Project C and them and others, and they said they had a meeting peacefully with all the, with Rebecca Enonchong and all these people. I guess even the system, those in power now, want to wait until Thursday, so that Thursday will give them, if not the legitimacy, at least will give them the legal basis to do whatever it is they may want to do. So until now, between now and Thursday, I think there's relative calm. Today, the first 2 deaths were registered.
Where was that?
A lady who teaches who's in the University of Garoua and also teaches in one of the schools there, was shot to death. And a child, a young child, a male child, was also shot to death. So these 2 things happened today. We hope the deaths will be limited to that. And we are working to provide support to the 2 families, because they obviously died, trying to make our space, our geography, that country a better place. As I said earlier on Thursday, it's not ghost town, but almost tantamount to that.
Yeah.
The various activists are demanding that people stay home and celebrate a victory. So it's a celebration of sorts. But if it turns out that it's not supposed to be a celebration, then the word will be given on what action to take. Just for the information of everybody listening to us here, we've sent individual letters to members of the Constitutional Council. When I say we, it's Project C. Letters have been sent to each of them, reminding them of what their options are. The options, when they're not just there to read the law, but to ensure that it is applied appropriately. And applying them appropriately means you look into what happened during the election. And if there are any evidence of fraud, you look into those. Investigate activities that took place. When you see, for example, and I mentioned Widi Kuman, there are many of these examples in the South, in Ebolova, for example. There were lots of people who voted for Chiroma, and they've said it, and they've sent the evidence in, but what is coming out of Elekam and going to the Constitutional Council is that Mr. Biya won at close to 100% in Ebolova. So clearly, we are hoping that on Thursday, they will point to those kinds of situations and say, we need to investigate them, and for that reason, will not pronounce the results coming from Elekam, which seems to want to give Mr. Biya 54% as opposed to 38% for Chiroma, which is totally against anything that's sensible. So we're hoping that they'll do the right thing. If they don't, you all, there must be somebody listening to us who knows a member of the Constitutional Council. For example, Professor Paul Nkui, Justice Florence Array, for example. Anybody who knows them should reach out to them and let them stand out and oppose, because it's so obvious what is wrong, especially the results coming from the Northwest and the Southwest regions. They should stand up and be on the side of history. Call for a disregard of the results as they've been tabled to them, especially if what we're hearing is what Elekam is going to present to them on Thursday. So there are things we all can do. It's not enough to sit back wherever you are listening to this program, wherever you are. As I said, I and a group of people have decided we will call people out. We've written to them. We're publishing what we're putting out. Every one of us can do something to ensure that there's the change we need that will help us resolve the many crises we have in that country. And that's my appeal to anybody listening to Chris.
Sure. Lastly, how about the security of or safety of Issa Chiroma himself up north?
Well, what I can tell you about that is that he's in absolute security up in Garwa. There's some, he's protected very, he has excellent protection. The military, of course, have surrounded his house, but they do not know for sure whether he's in that house or not. And because they don't know
Right.
And what we've heard is that a lot of the military guys have indicated to the young people who are standing around that Chiroma's home to provide protection if needed. A lot of the military fellows have come to them and said, "Look, we are with you. We're not against you."
Right.
So we believe that, and also we've appealed to the military. We have a letter to the military that's will be coming out in the newspapers tomorrow. And once again, the content of that letter is to every citizen. If you have anybody who's in the military, please call them and tell them that this is not, they are there to protect citizens and not to side with a bunch of thugs who've captured the state. They're not there to protect that group. They're there to protect the state. And if you have a military cousin, brother, sister, father, please go to them individually and appeal to them. That's the role that we can play at this time. We will not accept results that do not bring about change. And we should all be in that mindset.
Is there any indication?
Should accept results that do not result in change in that country.
Is there any indication that the Union of Change is talking to some of the top brass in the army in the La Republic, and there is so much side with the victory of the people?
Yes, we have indications that some senior military folks have decided they will not side with the regime if there's any intention of taking on the people. We have that indication.
This is breaking news as we speak. Eric, I think this is Jeune Afrique, has just put out a story. I doubt whether you've seen it. And the title, it is in French, Exclusive Présidentiel au Cameroun. Paul Biya a proposé à Issa Chiroma Bakare le poste de Premier ministre. That's a headline. So
yes, of course.
So
we heard that, but it's not going to happen.
So Paul Biya is proposing to Issa Chiroma the post of Prime Minister.
Yes, it's not going to happen, Chris. I can tell you that for sure.
Okay.
It's not going to happen. I mean, Mr. Chiroma is not in this for himself. If he needed, he's made it very clear that he's not in this for himself. He's in this to bring about change. Mr. Chiroma was a minister, a senior minister in the last government when he resigned, and he went for 10 years without seeing Mr. Biya. This is a government, this is a rudderless, like a ship in the middle of an ocean with no sense of direction. He knows that. And going back into this government will not make any difference because the leader is technically not there. So Mr. Chiroma is not in this for himself, he's in this to bring about change in Cameroon. I think it's made that very clear.
That is very interesting. Well, we are waiting and watching to see what happens on Thursday with the proclamation of the results. Eric, thank you very much. If you have any other appeal to the public, you can go ahead. If not, then we will talk as usual sometime in the morning tomorrow for some updates.
Thank you very much, Chris, and thanks everybody. And again, as I say, let each of us do their part. If you can go on the website of Project C, you can project is Project Cameroon. And if you can see what's happening and you want to support that, please do so. And support can be in terms of reaching out, carrying out some of the activities we recommend, to be carried out. Anyway, thank you all, and Chris, thanks again, and I'm available at all times.
Thank you, sir. You remain safe out there.
Thank you.
All right, and that was Eric Chinje, ladies and gentlemen, with me on the phone. And again, we're just receiving this piece of breaking news from Jeune Afrique, suggesting that Paul Biya has proposed to Issa Chiroma to become Prime Minister of the La République du Cameroon. This article is in French. In the course of this, I will say I can translate it into English and be able to read it to you out there, listeners out there. But again, Biya is proposing the post of Prime Minister to Issa Chiroma. What a comedy show! What a comedy show! Of course, I always thought Biya will propose either the post of Prime Minister or the post of Speaker, President of the Senate, or Speaker of the National Assembly, right? Biya knows how to play his game. I just doubt whether this time it is going to work. Samuel Thomas, let me bring you in here to comment on what is going on there before we get to the phones. Go on, please.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Eric this silly question of mine about it seems they are really contesting the situation in the southern Cameroons about the number of votes that Paul Biya is claiming to have won, or Elekam is claiming they've voted for Paul Biya. If Elekam or the Constitutional Council cancel those votes from Bamenda and Boya, will it still mean anything in the results that Elekam has compiled elsewhere in favor of Mr. Paul Biya? Because it seems if that is done, it will not still mean anything. So they're gonna be basing their argument on what has happened in Bamenda and Boya. I think their arguments will be based on the general tally of what has happened in La République du Cameroon, and even discard what took place in Southern Cameroons. That will hold. But basing anything in Bamenda and Boya is just a waste of time. For if the Constitutional Council says, okay, we'll cancel it, that's it. You have no argument again. Then secondly, Paul Biya, like Jeune Afrique is saying, Paul Biya is proposing the post of Prime Minister to Issa Chiroma, meaning Jeune Afrique got the results that Biya has won. That is why, as the winner, he's now proposing to Mr. Paul Biya to Mr. Chiroma the post of a Prime Minister. Can Mr. Chiroma and Eric Chinje and the Union for Change pick on that now and act on it? Like I was saying about the division within the army. If really there is a crack within the army that Issa Chiroma has secured, this is the time to exploit that crack. They must not allow Clement Altangana, because there is no way Clement Altangana, who is Mr. Paul Biya's brother, a member of the Fangsingam Society, that will not proclaim Mr. Paul Biya the winner. But if Clement Altangana is taken on his way to the Supreme Court, or whatever that they call it, if he's taken on his way in that ambulance is going to carry him to his office and lynched, then they've saved the whole situation. The movie say if they allow Clement to go and do the job, that's selling out of the market, they will not succeed. I'm sorry.
Reverend Ginny, please, your take on the issues at stake with Biya proposing the post of Prime Minister to Issa Chiroma.
It's a terrible, loving stock. How do I put it? It's all evident, like Honorable Thomas has said here. One of the ways these politicians in their wickedness do, using the media with information, is trying to diagnose the minds of the people. They send out some kind of information. It's like a leakage or kind of news to see the reaction of the people. But now it comes to, like Honorable Thomas says here, to be taken with seriousness. These guys are bended that are, as long as Biya live, he has support. Like I heard one of the drunk, oh God, supporter said, as long as he lives, he is supposed to be the candidate for life. There is no reason for anybody to be a candidate if he's alive. This is wickedness in the highest level, you know, and this is time for them to revise, re-strategize their effort, you know, on what to do. I could give them even an advice here. But like Honorable Thomas talk about this Clement man in his age at that level where he is. He wants to die in foolishness and wickedness to his own generation, to a people he had an opportunity to serve. In the early days, the other one said my hands were tied. In 1992, said my hands were tied. I had nothing to. There was nothing I could do. Since I was bound, I was a captive of the mighty. So I was condemned to say what I said or declare what I declared. Now, at his own age, are your hands still tied when you're faced with the destiny of your own life, with the justice of truth to meet the Almighty God, with your conscience for your children and what you have done? No. Now, my advice to this, it would be a lavish talk, because if the Cheroma were to become a very big fool and say, I'm thinking about what you're saying, then he will be like, say, I'm thinking about my grave you have dug for me to get in there. That is the truth. But that can never be. And it's a wicked message sent out already to say we are determined in our wickedness. So, Cheroma, you have said you are standing up for the cause of the people. Prove yourself at this time. And in all the strategies you have put in place, besides thinking whatever Amoka may be carrying this Clement man to the post of his duty to declaration, now there should be a strategy. That strategy should not only be, we are talking to you as good people. I thank God for Comrade Rich who spoke here. He said, let everybody do the essentials. We are trying to do the essentials as good neighbors, thinking about whatever is happening. Some people have been asking, is it needful to be talking about this issue day after day? It is not only needful, but very, very needful and very, very important. You know, whatever happens in La Republic concerns us and concerns our freedom and concerns our future and concerns our peace and our prosperity and concerns our children. Everyone, just recollect your mind. And so we are trying to let you know here. There is you could strategize. If we were the ones, what we'll be telling our foot soldiers who have been doing marvelous job there to make La Republic known that you don't have to joke in the land of Amazonia. You know, you come, you fool around there in zeal for him. They send you to meet Ekema wherever he is. Now, beside targeting those kind of people who are bended on the wicked of declaring and dying to go the way of the ages, you start thinking they should have a strategy to meet people like Atangaji wherever they are. And the first people there are not the civilians, but the uniformed people who have understood the need. They're not only going to come out and stand and say, no, people, and we are for the people. We are not going to harm you. Fight for the people. It is your reason to protect the people and protect the heritage of the land, of your own land. And if you have foolish politicians in their zeal, like a Tanganji, have them in your list, number one. Have all those kind of people like constitutional council members who know what is the truth and justice to be proclaimed as a strategy to reach out to them. When you reach out to 2 and 3 of them, there will be no way free, and the borders are blocked. Wherever they go, they meet you guys, and they are not fleeing out anywhere. I think I've had one of the last broadcasts was meet them even at the airport who are trying to send out their family members and say, you cannot do this, stay here. Jeune Afrique has sent out this information with the consent of France, who is the godfather of the dictator. Now, I got another message this day. I think some of you got it, where they are calling on French officials and citizens everywhere in La Republic to make sure they leave the territory within 72 weeks, 72 hours, sorry. Now, 72 hours. This is a strategy, meaning they are bended. So this is a message well-founded. Jeune Afrique is not just doing their work as the media. They have been giving information to them. And they also have the chunk of whatever has been given to sponsor that to get out. And Whatever is happening now, between now, the hours of now, tomorrow, and Thursday to dawn, it's over 24 hours, about 30 something hours. And they are going to monitor and strategize or reinforce their plans to be able to reach out. So it's something you must understand. All those people called section presidents or ministers or governors who have been the ones trying to coordinate all these amounts of corruption. I saw the list in Amazonia where they have no grounds. And the wicked dictator has brought chaos with over 40,000 people dead and villages reduced down to ashes. And a list of those of police stations only within the city of Bamenda, where we more than 2 million people. In a city that doesn't have that population, is there no wickedness in high places? And who are the people responsible for all these things? Target them. And the military should be the championing force where the people who voted follow them from behind to be able to work things out. So this is terrible. We stand with you. We pity you. And we are crying out to you. And we suggest to you essential strategic steps of action in moments like this. We cannot wait to see you in frustration while we are going our way of freedom, because we are gone already. Not we are going, we are gone. Thank you.
All right, so thank you. I think I have the article from Jeune Afrique, translated roughly into English, and let me see, I can bring it to the public out there, read it out again. Paul Biya sent a delegation last week. This is breaking news. Paul Biya sent a delegation last week to meet Issa Chiroma, and the names of the members of the delegation have actually been quoted by this article from Jeune Afrique. Let me read the article to you, the article from Jeune Afrique that is breaking the news of Paul Biya sending a delegation to Issa Chiroma and proposing to him to take the post of Prime Minister. Now, this is the story. Again, I'm reading it verbatim as it is from Jeune Afrique. As the National Vote Counting Commission declared Paul Biya the winner with 53% of the vote in Cameroon's presidential election, ahead of Issa Chiroma Bakary, credited with 35% of the vote, the standoff between the two camps continues, with the opposition candidate already contesting these figures. It is in this context, according to Jeune Afrique's information, that discrete, now listen to that, discrete negotiations have been initiated between the former minister, that is Issa Chiroma, and the outgoing head of state through intermediaries. It was through the governor of the North region. Jean Abad, I don't know how to pronounce it, but Jean Abate Edi, accompanied by other envoys, that President Biya reached out to Issa Chiroma with a bold proposal, the position of Prime Minister. The meeting took place in Garoua, at the former minister's residence, that is at Issa Chiroma's residence, late last week. In exchange for the premiership or prime minister position and promotion of some of his close associates to positions within the government and administration, the opposition leader was expected to tone down his electoral challenge. I hope you guys are hearing this. I hope you, because in the coming days, weeks, and months, we may have to return to this piece of information to see how Issa Chiroma reacts to it. Now, the story continues. Still, according to our sources, now that is Jeune Afrique writing, still according to Jeune Afrique's sources, the Cameroon government invoice also placed on the table in exchange for the opposition leader's recognition, that is, in exchange for Issa Chiroma's recognition of his rival's victory, Paul Biya's victory, a fast-track reform of the Electoral Code. Can you imagine that? A fast-track reform of the Electoral Code to be implemented before the next legislative election scheduled for 2026. The proposal was backed by several foreign diplomats who were in favor of Chiroma Bakare accepting the olive branch and facilitating a peaceful way out of the looming electoral crisis. How everybody is hearing this. This is what they do to the people every time with the backing of foreign, so-called foreign diplomats. Now, the story continues. The former Minister of Communication, Issa Chiroma, aware that his support base might reject any deal with the regime and convinced of his own victory in the presidential election, nonetheless refused the proposals. According to one of his lieutenants, contacted by Jeune Afrique, he sees the offer as an attempt at political neutralization by Paul Biya. Now, this is quoting Issa Chiroma. All that Issa Chiroma Bakare demands is recognition of the truth of the ballot box, his lieutenant confided. Since then, the opposition team has begun publishing polling station reports and compilation of results in their possession, from which they claim to have won the presidential elections with 62% of the votes. On the ground, tensions remain high according to our information, that is, Jeune Afrique's information. The Chiroma Bakare camp is preparing an action plan to defend the popular victory once the final verdict is announced by the Constitutional Council, which must do so no later than October 26. Large-scale demonstrations could, well, that is the story, ladies and gentlemen. That is the story essentially. Let me recap that story. I hope everybody got that. So last week, ladies and gentlemen, a team led by the governor of Garua or the northern governor a team led by the northern governor sent from Yaoundé representing Paul Biya met Issa Chiroma at his Garua home and put on table a proposal from Paul Biya. And the proposal suggests that Issa Chiroma should take the post of Prime Minister in the new government that Biya is going to form. And that also, in that regard, Issa Chiroma can select any of his close collaborators to be appointed into different offices in the government. And then thirdly, Biya promised to revise the electoral code before the council elections, which are sometime next month. And the response from Issa Chiroma was no. Accordingly, Issa Chiroma was concerned that his voters, the public that voted for him, will not accept that position. So, it has started, ladies and gentlemen. Biya knows how to play the game. Rig the elections and then bring positions and money and get you to conform. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, Honorable Sama and Reverend Ingini, we don't have a lot of time here. Please, 50 seconds each to make a point, and and then I will get to the phone before I call it a night. Sama, please.
For Mr. Chiroma to have taken that position, relying on his electoral base, fine and good for him. But what the foreign embassy or diplomat that was in that delegation was the French ambassador. So when they met the hard rock, which they met with Issa Chiroma, that is what has prompted France to give a warning to all her citizens, because they've seen that they've prepared a good ground for a civil strife to take place in the Republic of Cameroon. So they are asking their citizens, get out of the place, for we didn't succeed in convincing Chiroma to accept his prime ministerial position and whatever reforms he was going to agree with Mr. Paul Biya, which if at all he did that, they would never come. Secondly, to our brothers and sisters on the ground, beware. We are declaring benevolent neutrality from anything that is going to take place in La République du Cameroon. We are not involved. Our struggle is not that of La République Cameroon. If they have a struggle, they should pick it off. Our hands are not supposed to be there. Our struggle is ongoing, and we are going to toe the line of our struggle.
Hello, Comrade Chris, are you there? Can I
Yeah,
come in?
Reverend Jenny, please go on. 50 seconds.
Yeah, this message is very, very clear, and I'm proud to know that Cheroma is willing to stand through the gap, toe the line, and lead the people for a way forward. It's this proposal. It shows all the true nature of La République. Corruption, manipulation, and wickedness at all levels, sponsored by France. And my heart bleeds when I hear that name called international observers. What are they observing? I live in an environment where the law is very, very loud and spelled out. The standards of life is ruled by the law, and no uniform speaks to anybody. Everybody respect the way forward. And when I see people stand out there from this kind of environment in the name of international observers, and they're the ones endorsing wickedness in high level, I see them like manipulators. And one of my advice will be the military that stands up for, when you stand up and have this kind of people within your environment, make them understand that they're not supposed to be in that. Let them go to where they can do that kind of thing, because it's not supposed to be done. If it should not be done at their home, they should not come to do it in their own home. What kind of wickedness is this? It's a big challenge. And this is a message for those who truly had voted for Cheroma in La République du Cameroon to know it is high time for them to prepare. It is high time for them to prepare. They have just hours to prepare. I have heard that before, during the at the eve of the election, food was bought within La République, political capital and economic capital, until there was no where to find some essential food in the cities. I don't know whether there still should be food now, but it is time for you to feed yourself and go out and fight for yourself. And don't let France and the wicked manipulators continue to impose on you what is not supposed to be. I've gotten so many messages, and I think the voices are coming from different ends of the social media to speaking to you should make you understand that people speak to you with their goodwill. There's a Nigerian comedian I listened with bleeding in my heart, laughing at La République du Cameroon. He laughs until he goes unconscious and is trying to comb a head that is not grown up to my own. And the guy is frustrated everywhere. I say, I have never seen this kind of a thing. It is a laughing stock. Come up, prove yourself as people who have come to a consciousness. Sit up and shine your eyes and let the essentials be done. Thank you, Comrade Chris, for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you both, Comrade Sama and Reverend Ginny. You can call it a night tonight. I am going to open the phone line. My phones have been blazing here ever since Eric Chinje came online. And then with the news of Biya's delegation meeting with Isa Chiroma at his home in Garoua and proposing for him the post of Prime Minister. We're going to open the phone lines, but remember, before you call, shut down the volume of your set. Before you call, shut down the volume of your set before you call. That will help me pick your calls. If I pick your call and I hear myself repeating myself in the background, I will just go to the next caller if you do that. All right, let me start from ground zero. Hello, sir. Hello.
Hello, Comrade Chris. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. 50 seconds. The phones are blazing here. What is on your mind? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Gokutunja County, Comrade Chris.
Okay, and what is on your mind?
Yeah, Comrade Chris, if you quite remember the last program I participated, your last program in which I participated, John Africa has just come to confirm what I talked about Issa Chiroma unable to take a decision on his own because of the people's votes, and that the people will be out to defend their votes.
Okay.
Yes, Comrade Chris. I foresee, I say what I foresee. Now there is a plan B for the CPDM guys. There is a plan B where they can organize for a military takeover, a pretended military takeover, reorganize elections, and then try to see what they can do, but it is too late. It is too late. Now, when I say military takeover, I'm talking about Yaoundé. I just sent a video of a group of military men in Garoua who are celebrating with the population.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
if it is that the military around Garoua and other areas who are celebrating the victory of Chiroma, then that one is genuine. But if there's a military coup that is happening in A2D, it should be a fake one. So that is what I just came to talk about.
All right, thank you for the call.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you.
Sir.
All right. Hello.
Yes. Hello, Comrade Chris.
I can hear you, sir. Calling from Texas. Is it Texas or where?
Yes.
Okay. Your contribution, sir. 50 seconds.
Okay, so first of all, the bringing Issa Chiroma as prime minister is an insult to the Cameroonian people. But what I want to say is that I think the Northeast will stand their ground, but I wonder if the rest of the country will provide any sustained support, right? Because now they're talking about peace. This regime keeps talking about peace. But as you can see, La République has been rigging elections for the past who knows how long, over the years. And that is violence. They arrest people and all our refugees and all those people. Those are all violence, right?
And hold on there. And can you even imagine the insult? Come, we will make you prime minister, and we promise you that we will revise the electoral code before the next election, as if they didn't know what the electoral code was before the current election, right?
This is what happens when you have been caught red-handed. This is what happens to they don't have nowhere to go. This concession is a sign of defeat. This concession that they're trying to force Issa Chiroma to accept is a sign of defeat. This is just the beginning, Comrade Chris. This is just the beginning. This regime cannot orchestrate injustice over the years and then demand peace and calmness in return from the Cameroonian people. In fact, I think the Cameroonian people, this is the time for Cameroon. This is not Amazonian's fight. This is the time for them to stand up. They have the opportunity to do it now. I wanted to ask you though, Comrade Chris, do you think Biya plans to win this election and then hand it over to somebody like Ngongo? Do you think that is something which is because there is a whole big French connection behind this thing? Why must it be one man? Biya is not, he doesn't even seem, he doesn't, his mind, he doesn't know where he is. Why must the French stand behind an octogenarian who doesn't even know what is going on? What is going on?
It is difficult to tell what they have in mind, because if he was to take it and then hand it to Ngongo. Guess who?
Honey to the Betty Bulu.
Or Betty Bulu, whatever.
Your monologue.
Or
because
what?
This is what they plan to continue. They plan to continue. They don't want this thing to go up north. They don't want it to go to an Anglophone. They don't want to go to the West Province and the Torah combined, like you said. I watched what you said. There is a scheme going on.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for the call, sir. Thank you for the call.
Thank you.
All right.
Sure.
Hello. Hello. All right. The phone line is open. Go ahead and call. Hello. Okay. Hello.
Yes, hello, Secretary Chris.
Hello. Where are you calling from, sir?
Yeah, I'm calling from the home front.
Okay, 50 seconds. What is on your mind?
Yeah, actually, the program is so very interesting and I love it. But my question is...
Go on, sir. I'm hearing you.
Yeah, so the issue here is deliberating on the La Republic election. I'm not seeing any strategy that you people you are putting in that now that this one that is coming on their own side, which the tension is there. So I think you people should be deliberating on a strategy that we are going to take back our country, Southern Cameroon. I think you people should be discussing that, not that they are discussing that Esther Churuma, like what Eric Change is saying, that be reassured that they are going to release prisoners, they are going to... I think we should be putting a strategy that we are going to block our own borders. No, we all know that our prisoners will come out.
Okay, thank you. Listen, you have to be smart enough to know that there are certain things that you don't come and sit on television and spill out, right? When you talk about we discussing, we will not discuss that on television. Thank you for the call. All right, the line is open. Go ahead. I have 4 more minutes before I call it a night here. So go ahead and call. Okay, let's get to... Hello.
Yes, is it my turn?
Hello, this is... you are live, sir, on ABS.
Am I online?
You are live, sir, yes. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Washington, D.C. I'm originally from Gabon.
Okay, and what is on your mind, sir?
We have a vested interest in making sure that our biggest neighbor doesn't go up. I have a question in light of what happened in our own country.
Okay.
So, have you accounted for a contingency where pretty much the military steps in and then there's still the victory of Mr. Chiroma? Is there a plan to take care of that? Thank you.
Thank you. That's a very good, that's a legitimate question, because you never can predict what happens in that country. BA could just turn it over to the military with a plan, and Issa Chiroma sits there and lament, and the military carry out its plan. I hope they have some contingencies, and I also want to believe the Chiroma campaign is talking to some top military brass in Yaoundé. Let's hope so. Hello.
Hello, comrade. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. 50 seconds. You're calling from London.
Yeah. So my advice to the Republic is that they're talking about peace. The thing that can bring peace there is the AK-47.
AK-47.
Thinking. AK-47 would be the only thing that will bring democracy and peace in their country. Another advice is that when maybe they will come to, even let's say, let them be thinking of relocating the capital. Let them think of relocating the capital.
That could be an option. That could be an option for Chiroma, right? Just go on air and announce that since he won the elections and Bia is not willing to bow out gracefully, he is formally announcing that Garoua becomes the transitional capital of La République du Cameroon. I hope they are hearing you. Thank you for the call, sir.
Welcome.
Okay, I have a few minutes. I have about 3 minutes before I leave. Go ahead and call. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Where are you calling from? I can hear you. Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hello, I can hear you, sir. Where are you calling from?
From Maryland.
Okay, what is on your mind, sir? 50 seconds.
Thank you. Thank you, Secretary Chris. I just have one question. Let's assume that Cameroon is one with the southern Cameroon. So if they are proposing Chiroma the post of PM, so where are southern Cameroon's position to be in the new regime that Biya is proposing Chiroma the place of PM? Thank you.
Well, thank you. You can imagine that Philemon Yang will become the new president of the Senate, or maybe new speaker, of the National Assembly, right? You know how they do
These
this
people
stuff.
they are taking us for clowns.
Yeah,
They are taking us
exactly.
to be their shit hole.
They
It's
take
not gonna
us
work.
for pawns. Yeah, that's what I think is on their mind. All right, thank you for the call.
Okay.
Hello. Hello. All right. Again, when you call, you have to make sure you are listening. Don't call and pick in your background. Television is responding. I have 3 more minutes before I call it a night. So go ahead and call if you want to. All right. Good evening, Comrade Chris. Just want to update you on what is ongoing. The regime has proposed a prime ministerial position to Mr. Chiroma, but he turned down the offer. Okay, that's what we are talking about here. What does Mr. Eric mean by standing up to be counted to those who want Chiroma to stop the war in Amazonia? Okay, let me get this caller here. Hello.
What does Mr. Eric mean by standing
Hello.
up
Hello.
to be counted?
Right. Again, before you call here, make sure that you turn down the volume of your television set and focus on your phone. All right. Let me read this. What does Mr. Eric mean by standing up to be counted for those who want Chiroma to stop the war in Amazonia? A listener thinks that Mr. Eric Chinje is advising those Amazonians above to fight with the Francophones against the fraud. I disagree with such an advice. Okay, sir. All right. Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. May I know where you are calling from, please?
Yeah, I'm calling from Mutengana.
Mutengene, what is on your mind, sir? 50 seconds.
Okay, I just kind of what the last speaker said, that if the president want to get out from the Unity Palace, Issa Chiroma should declare where he's leaving the capital. I think that's a wise idea.
Good idea. Good idea. I hope they are listening to you guys. Right. Thank you for the call.
Okay.
All right. Hello, Comrade Chris. I watched CRTV this evening, and the program of the results is tomorrow. We said it here. So they are announcing, so CRTV has officially announced the proclamation of the results. Cameroon election, presidential election results for tomorrow. We will be on here. We will be on here for a long time tomorrow to cover those results. We're going to find out when the results will be announced, and ABS will be live. We'll be live, and if possible, relay the announcement of those results from Yaoundé. We will find out. So expect us to come on live a little earlier tomorrow with the results announcement. All right. Biya has lost the election. That's why he is proposing to Issa Chiroma to become prime minister. Okay. All right. All right. Good evening, Comrade Chris. Just want to update you on what is... Okay, I think I read this. Comrade, this man is called Commissaire Albert Ebene, former head of the espionage wing of the police called GRE, where Iko now in prison over Martinez Zogo's death, and who, I don't know what he is writing about here. Okay. We don't receive video calls here, sir. We receive regular calls. We don't receive video calls here. Okay. We're also receiving information that the French have asked their citizens to leave Cameroon within 72 hours. France has asked its citizens to leave Cameroon within 72 hours. That is something that is happening right now. Let me get this as the last caller. Hello. Hello.
Hello, Comrade Chris.
50 seconds, sir. Go on.
Yes, I don't want us to know what is playing in Larubi to Cameroon. We should know that this has always been the trend in Africa. When Bobia comes on now to say he has won and that confusion keep growing, the international community will go down and form a union government, and that union government is going to form around Pobia. So if he just thinks that he's going to stay and going to overrule Pobia, and he is not ready to do it the way we do it, we are doing it, he's wasting his time. With time, they'll call on him to accept a union government, and that's going to be formed around Pobia. Thank you.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense, and the French are good at that. The French are very good at that. After 2 weeks, they will say, form a government of national unity. A government of national unity, as if Chiroma will come with 50 and Biya will come with 50. Of course, we know that will never happen. Biya controls the army. He has the police force, has the gendarme, he has everything. He controls the treasury too. He controls the National Assembly and the Senate. In fact, he appoints members of the Senate. So when they say a government of national unity, what does that even mean? Chiroma will be very stupid to accept for a smidgen of a proposal of any form of government of national unity with Paul Biya at 93 years old, or is it 94? 93 years old man. Does Chiroma think that should he accept a government of national unity and Biya dies in a week's time after the proclamation of the election? Does he think they will hand it over to him because he formed the government with Paul Biya? Of course not. It would not happen. The only thing is, listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is a secret. If La République du Cameroon can proclaim Biya the winner tomorrow, wait for another escalation in months or maximum of a year, because we know Biya is too afraid to still live another 6 months. That country is geared towards disintegration, whether they like it or not, because they make it so. Ladies and gentlemen, I will end it here tonight, but before I go, I really want to again repeat this appeal that I have been making for about a week now. asking for your support of ABS, asking for your appeal to support ABS. We are coming to you thanks to a few who are assisting us to get this thing run on satellite. Often when we are shut down, people are like, oh no, what is going on? Where is ABS? People lament. But when we are live, we appeal to you to support us to stay alive. We don't get the response. Ladies and gentlemen, I am strongly appealing to all of you out there. I need just 100 people. We'll call it ABS 100 Club. ABS 100 Club. 100 Club. And this is the drill. If the 100 people can give us on a monthly, can commit to a monthly donation of only $25. Only $25. At least $25. We'll be able to sustain ABS, especially at this very critical moment when we need it the most. I do not think any Cameroon television or Amazonian television offers you what ABS alone does here. That is why people throng here in their thousands live every time I am here to watch this. We have seen an exponential rise in our views on YouTube. And it is quite encouraging, but please, for us to keep doing this, we desperately need your support. I need 100 people to constitute a 100 club for ABS. The number is there on your screen. If you want to belong to that club and support ABS with at least, you can do more, but at least committed to at least $25 a month, we would take ABS to the very next level. ABS is being seen by satellite in all of Africa. We're on 2 satellites actually. Amos 17, which covers Central and part of West Africa, and NISAT, which covers the rest of Africa. Without your support, we cannot do this. Please, please, send me a message and indicate your readiness to join the ABS 100 Club on the number you find on your screen, and we will go from there. Please do so. Do so and do not delay. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Again, Cameroon elections are being read tomorrow, and we will come up live much more early than the usual 8 p.m. Amber time that we do. So we're going to be up here live early enough, if possible, to cover the proclamation of those results live here on ABS. So please, look forward to being back here tomorrow. You have a great evening and God bless you all.
Kagamati money, Kagamati money. Chief Orok John Mbi, the chief of Okoyong village, chief of chiefs, Amanekunu, Papa Ibengwe, Sisiku Ogongsu Bisong, Mawole Mongong, General Manager Soweda, Papa Ibengwe, Professor Madam Enega Bechem, Registrar Yubi, Mama Ajo. Oh, Kinababo! Oh, Taya Chito, Matumango, oh, Taya Chito, Matumango, Fondero, Taya Chito, Matumango, Fondero, Taya Chito. Mongo Kinyonsio. Ogare.
Matumango. Matumango. Taya chito. Afamanywe meba chito. Matumango. Mbemanywo mbiya chito. Matumango. Afamanywe meba chito. Matumango. Afamanywe meba chito. Matumango.
And no Tangitiku, like father, like son, great reformer, administrative baron, Papa Ibengwe.
Ando manyana poroso, Matumango. Ando manyana poroso, Matumango. Ando manyana poroso, Matumango. Ando manyana poroso, Matumango.
Kanyo.
Matumango. Matumango. Manyana poroso, Matumango. Ando manyana poroso, Matumango.
Mega Donatus, Deputy General Manager of Pamol. Nsengwe Papa Gwe.
Matumango. Faka yongo biya ibengo. Matumango. Faka yongo biya kamonyo. Matumango. Taya ibengo. Matumango. Faka yongo biya ibengo. Matumango.
Senator Mfota Betando, the Minister Victor Mengod, Mota Manke Mamamo, Manyandorambo.
Taya kabo. Wenabaye. Taya kabo. Wenabaye. Sabara kabo. Wenabaye. Sabara kabo. Wenabaye.
Tata Asuba Kabe Bini, Cyber Security USA, Papa Joe.
Taya chito. Matumango. Taya chito. Matumango. Taya chito. Matumango. Taya kabo. Matumango.
Kobomu.
Wenabaye. 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 Abamanywe meba chito. Matumango. Abamanywe meba chito. Matumango. Afamanywe meba chito. Matumango. Afamanywe meba chito. Matumango.
Onyare.
Sabab. Sabab.
Okay, whoa.
Sabab. Sabab.
For Jacob Agbo from the Kwai Village, US base. Papa Kem the Kwai Adorambo. Kinababo.
Amanyawo. Yo manyawo. Amanyawo. Taya kabo. Amanyawo. Nara chito. Amanyawo. Nara chito. Amanyawo. Taya chito. Amanyawo. Anotaya chito. Amanyawo.
The regent of Okoyong, the petrol baron, Bateyaya, Papa Kem the Okoyong Adorambo.
Taya chito. Amanyawo.
Better we go. Chief Bayan Michael of Ebam, Papa Ibengwe. The chief of Mbanga Bongo Justice again, Papa Lukoyo. Kayo Karuo. The prophetic apostle, Dr. Hermitin Ayok, aka Jesus Man, the saint and philanthropist of Tenako Village, Papa Ajo. Go,